Anytime you have an officer engaged in the use of force, those incidents should be closely examined to determine whether or not the force was appropriate, whether or not it was consistent with the policy, um, whether there were any grounds to use the force in the first place. And if not, that needs to be addressed either in a training or a corrective action sense. It's one of the most important things we do in policing is we have that ability to utilize force to ensure compliance, to bring about the objectives that we're charged with carrying out. And we need to do that, in fact, in a constitutional manner. Determining, periodically taking a look to see, are there issues, are there patterns or practices that they see that indicate that there could be organizational problems. There could be problems with training. There could be problems in terms of organizational culture. Those factors are the types of things that ultimately the U.S. Department of Justice, the Civil Rights Division, and the Special Litigation Section will come in to take a look at when they have some indication that there's a potential problem with respect to a pattern and practice of civil rights abuses. This type of an incident should, in fact, be looked at any time. Anytime there's an issue of this nature, any use of force needs to be closely examined, just on its own merits alone. With regard to DOJ investigations, with regard to the things that are done by people in the type of role that I serve in as a monitor and on monitoring teams, these are the incidents that we pay very, very close attention to see whether or not the organization is actually fulfilling all of its responsibilities, whether the training is proper, whether the officers are really carrying out their duties in a manner that's consistent with that training, and whether these things are being done in a constitutional manner. Many people will look at this particular incident and somewhat rationalize it in their own mind and saying, this is not significant, it was not deadly force, something of that nature. But the reality is we do need to be concerned about any and every use of force incident. The organizations need to be concerned about it because these things can turn on a dime. Who's to say that something might not have occurred here that could have escalated this to the point that deadly force might have been used? Clearly, that's not the case. That's not what occurred. But I think we need to be honest enough with ourselves as a profession, as an industry, to say we're going to examine these cases. We're going to make sure that we're doing it, carrying out our duties appropriately, and we're ultimately going to be accountable to the public.